with an engineer's brave. We must make that run successful from the cradle to the grave. Watch the hills, the curves of the tunnel, never falter, never fail. Just keep your hand upon the throttle and your eyes on the rail. Blessed Savior, thou wilt guide us till we reach that distant shore, where the angels wait to join us in God's grace forevermore. We must make that one successful from the cradle to the grave. Watch the hills of tunnel, never falter, never fade. Just keep your hands upon the throttle and your eyes upon the rail. Blessed Savior, thou wilt guide us till we reach that distant shore, and the angels wait to join us in God's grace forevermore. Oh, yeah. Good afternoon. Thank you. Whoa.
Okay, we got the first number is 5752337.
Oh, wait a second.
Get your tickets out. Somebody give 5752337. Give him some new ones. Did somebody win this thing? We didn't have to draw again. That you lost? All right, we're going to go for this thing again. See how fast we are really ready. You won! Oh, that's what you want. All right. Nice. This will be the next one is, we got a cute little egg skillet here. 5752338. How did that work? Wait a minute. Yeah, 338. Who's got 3-3 probably has 3-3-8. Did you look at your numbers? Because they look like they went in a row. Hey, did somebody give Connie, did you get tickets? You need some, give some raffle tickets to Connie in the green jacket there. By the way, we really want to give a big thank you. If everybody would give a round of applause. Connie, would you wave your hand around in the air? Nancy said it.
I think we have a winner.
Connie and Andy donated 10 spoon space to us today for this event, so if everybody would give them a big round of applause. Thank you. That'd be great. Someone win that? So, since Dudley's up here, can I have Steve come up and join him? Where's Steve? So these two guys were really instrumental in helping us. Steve Karkinen, I don't even know what his exact title is, other than good friend for many, many years, is the director of the West Central Montana Avalanche Center, and he was really instrumental in helping us through the whole what do we want to call it, event.
You guys did all
yeah, but we needed you. And Dudley was one of the guys that, yeah, Steve was up there with his arm sling on, like, I shouldn't be doing this, but here I am. And Dudley was up on the mountain actually checking the site and looking out for our safety, you know, as volunteers down on the ground. So give them a big hand for what they're doing. Yeah. I'll also make mention, and you've probably seen this in the news because we've tried to make this pretty public, is that their center works on donations primarily. So if you can donate to the foundation, go online. Tell me the online address.
MissoulaAvalanche.org.
Okay, so get online and donate to their organization, because that's what keeps them going. And like I said, they're a really, really integral part of our community, and we need to keep them going. So thank you.
Will you say their website?
The website is MissoulaAvalanche.org. And they also have a Facebook page that's Missoula Avalanche Facebook page. So we somehow crossed. I didn't know that.
Worked out fine.
Yeah, it did. Great. Okay. So we have one more thing in this set of raffle items, and that is 575-2257. 2257. Anybody? Ah! All right. Yay. Good. Festival of Good mugs. You got them. Now you can drink pints of beer.
Do you want to do another set turn, or?
No.
Okay.
We have 3 more sets of raffle items, and we'll do them after we're done with this.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit later. So here comes the talking part of this event, and it's kind of going to be long, but the first part, I did want to thank 10 Spoon for having us up here. It's such a beautiful space, and we're really happy to be here, and we really wanted something in the rattlesnake, so give them a hand again. And I know a lot of the people who were involved couldn't be here today. They're out of town or other things. If people want to fill in a little bit, then people don't have to come up here. Don't be afraid. I really won't bite. I know most of you. Come on up. Come on up. So people don't have to peer around the corner. I just kind of think it would be good to have anybody whose name I mentioned, which will end up being all of you probably in the long run, but come on up here and stand near me. There's sort of a core group of organizers, of people who not only managed the site, but also worked with materials that were pulled out of the site, and that all of those being very, very large jobs. And so I'd like to acknowledge Morgan and Amy. Come on up here. They were site managers while I was gone, and then took over for a whole lot of things. Bob Holman, who's not here today. Ellie Steinberg, come on up. She was a major coordinator for off-site things, as was Nicole Dunn. She was both on-site and off-site. Nicole, come on down. And Mike Dunn, her partner, who is off and about, but he runs this roofing business, or used to. Done Right Roofing, and he was the brilliant one who came up with tarps, and we were able to haul snow off-site with a tarp. So Rebecca Holman, who is not here today, but she played a huge role. Denise Nelson, come on up. Denise was huge in taking care of a lot of the fabrics and stuff that came out of Michael's site. She made that really cool quilt that's right there on that front barrel for me. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Kathy Knudsen and Tom Devaney, who aren't here today. Martha Newell, come on down. We need you up here. Helping with lots of various things as well as site storage. Diane Olheft, come on up, because Diane actually and Jeannie Tuhig are my neighbors who actually are the ones who inspired me to get involved, and so these people who are just up there. Diane was up there. She was one of the first people up there. She was so smart. She skied up, and she had brought her sled and all of her stuff in her sled so that she could take things home in her sled, ski home with it. It was just brilliant. It was so cool. Nancy Selden, come on up. We need you. Nancy was also an integral part of taking care of really delicate fabrics, yarns, so on and so forth. Another fabric enthusiast, textile enthusiast. Raphael, I guess, is not here. So he was another integral part of the core group. And Claire Emery, who has been so involved with all the prayer flags, which you got to see. I was so happy seeing them when I was driving up. They look great.
And she made sure the books all came in really good condition.
This was the other thing. Claire Emery is an artist, and when we were working up at the site, people kept coming up and saying, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? What do I? I'm like, I don't know. And so I looked up, and there was Claire, and I know because she's an artist, she's meticulous. Most artists are quite meticulous. And so I said, I just announced that Claire Emery is in charge of books. I didn't even ask her first. And sure enough, she had all those books put tidily into boxes so that they were far easier to process on the other end. So for those of you who weren't involved in the process, you have to realize we're dealing with tons and tons of snow, and we're trying to peel away at layers and pulling out what we could. And after we pulled out things that we could, they either got boxed or put in bags, plastic bags, and they were taken to Bob Holman's storage. At which point, there were people from the Mansfield Library, there was Ellie, there were a number of people working on the other end, totally processing all this stuff. Like, does it need to go to the green hanger to get washed? That's going to come home with me to get cleaned and dried. This is going to go into a special collection so that we still have a lot of Fred's personal notebooks that are going to be going to a special place to get restored. So there were many, many physical, actual layers, and then there were many layers beyond that. And so all of these people played major roles, and a number more probably that I'm missing. Can you guys think of anybody else that, right off the top of your head? So just, you know, it's amazing. The whole thing was amazing. And I'm going to list a few more volunteers. Julie Hurd, Sally Thompson, Cheryl and Archie McMillan. Come on up if you're here. I know Cheryl and Archie are here. The neighbors who helped us out. Come on up. Archie was still up there the other day just raking up debris.
Yes,
he couldn't help himself, I could tell. He couldn't help himself. Lynn Sanders, come on up. Roger and Donna Thomas. Lisa Weinrich, Rhonda Callison, Amy Khalil, Tammy Elser, come on up here. Come on, come on, come on. Brian Christensen, Dalit Gusko, Jenny Tolson, Marilyn Marler, Jenny Mish, Carla Green, Meryl Storr, Marty Blair, and he had all of his groups from his LDS church were up there helping. Tristan Flint, Lisa Thomas, Laura Hibbs, Joe Burns. She brought scones on the last day that we were working, and we were all so tickled. We couldn't stand it. Then we also want to thank a number of major business donors. Starting with, and other organizations, I'll put it that way. Starting with the City of Missoula, John Engen was really integral part, the Missoula Street Department, Brian Hensel, and Don Veru, the building department. Jason Deal was, I think those of us who worked with him, we think he's a god, pretty much. He was superb. He's the chief of the fire department, and if you ever meet him, tell him thank you from all of us, because he was amazing, just completely amazing. Mountain Water Company and Western Excavating, Rocky Rail Services, Scott Cooney, IB Sprinklers and Landscaping. Tim Ivy had a guy come up at like, dark 30, the Sunday night after the avalanche and clear out this woman's garage so that she could get in and out. She has disabilities, and I made a point of trying to get somebody in there, and they were kind enough to come up at literally, I think it was 9 o'clock at night. I don't know, Mike had to drag him out of the irrigation ditch, but anyways, he got there. Nature's Best. Forney Contracting and Rocky Mountain Dirt Work, and actually Mike Rada here works for them, so he runs a large equipment. Ron Tip, Montana Conservation Corps, oh my God, wow. D&D Construction and Bob Bowman, Gary Duff with Heritage Timber, and then the Porta Potty Angels. Okay, so here's the story with the Porta Potty Angels. Sunday morning, we had worked on Saturday, and Sunday, we had kind of put out the word on Saturday that we needed help, and Sunday, we got up there, and I was like, "Boop-a-doo, let's ba-da-da," and oh my God, somebody brought porta potties! I was totally blown away that somebody had thought of bringing porta potties. And so, guess what? It was Sweet Pea Sewer and Septic that just thought of that. That's something that we might need with all those people up there. Brilliant, right? Home Resource, Ace Hardware, both Eastgate and Trempers. Oh my God, they were great. They gave us hand warmers. Home Depot, Albertsons, Eastgate Shipping Depot brought us all the boxes and the packing tape that Nicole and all these guys used. Eastgate Party Rental brought this tent out here. Green Hanger was integral in getting a lot of that fabric cleaned and dried and folded. Small Wonders Futons, UM Ambassador Program, the UM Department of Biological Sciences, and guess what? The Anthropology Department was up there working one day too. UM fraternities were really fantastic. Sigma Chi and Sigma Phi Epsilon have changed my vision of fraternities forever. Kathy Vaughn and Danette Seiler and the other folks at the Mansfield Library were the other people that were with them. That's pretty much it with the library folks. They were amazing. H&H Meats, who was storing the books for us in the freezer. Jeanette Rankin Peace Center, if anyone has not grabbed a mason jar from them, please take one. I don't want to go home with them. Mountain Press Publishing Company, John Reimel chipped in. Treasure State Donuts, Break Espresso, Einstein Bagels, Starbucks, Grand Creek, San Marino's, Five Guys, Jim Jones, The Top Hat, Spectrum, Zach, yes, Zootown Arts Community Center. And I just want to say that, like, when we posted this in the newspaper, we had to contact a lot of these people because we wanted to make sure that they wanted to be publicly recognized. And a number of them said, well, we don't need to be recognized. And I said, well, I'd like to recognize you. It's really, it would mean a lot. And Tim Ivy actually said it best. It was very simple. He said, well, this is about community. It's not about recognition. And so it was very poignant to me that he felt that way because a number of people did. So I think all of us, pretty much. Did you have a message to read from Red, or did he not say something?
Yeah, I do.
So at this point, if we were kind of hoping that anybody who might want to, any of you neighbors that might want to say something to volunteers, or Ellie has a statement from Fred, and actually Fred is the one that ordered the cake from Bernice's back there that says thank you, that big, huge cake. So why don't we start out with Ellie, and then if any of you want to get up and say a few words to volunteers, we would love to have you do that.
Should we go back in the audience?
Oh, Nicole is so nervous, she's asking if she can go back in the audience.
I want to go change
Yeah,
out the
please
trash
go.
can.
Go. Oh. There's a worker bee for you. Okay, Ellie.
Do I have to go
Yes,
there
you do.
next to this?
Yes, you do.
I can hear.
Yeah, well, I want you to get really close, like put your mouth right on it.
So
I had lessons myself.
I think one of the greatest gift that the community gave Fred Allendorf in showing up and taking care of the disaster site that was his home was that, and particularly Tarn and Morgan and Amy for taking care of all of the logistics. I mean, there's no roadmap for how do you deal with a house suddenly being destroyed and all of the contents being in a giant pile of snow. Fred has had even bigger, harder things to be coping with. And the gift, I think, the greatest gift to him was that he and his family members could focus on each other and not have to deal with any of that. And I know it's been overwhelming for us, and it's not even our home. It's not our belongings that were suddenly scattered in front of the entire community to be sorting through. Imagine your house and all of its contents in a big pile and hundreds of people kind of going through it. It's pretty overwhelming, and to see on the news. And but they had these great people who stepped up and just kind of took care of it, and it's huge. I mean, it's huge because they've been able to focus on each other, which is really. Oh, I thought you were giving me this one. See, Tarn, she really looks out for people. Anyway, so Fred is basically, he's at the very beginning of a long path of coming to terms with what happened. And he wrote to me that he greatly appreciates all of the work of the many volunteers. But you can imagine even thinking about it for him is overwhelming, thinking about this scale of giving. If any of us had this scale of giving, it's overwhelming. He expressed that he still has difficulty even thinking about the site where he and Michael shared a home for so many years. And he said he really misses the sequence of spring flowers blooming on the mountain that they tracked every spring. He's been finding some comfort in a gift he received, and that's a book by the Australian philosopher and cartoonist Michael Leunig. You see those cartoons by Leunig? They're sort of simple line drawings. Leunig's book, Short Notes from the Long History of Happiness, explores how happiness sometimes departs and we find ourselves in a mess, in pain, and possibly despair, and how by staying in it, some joy and happiness of breaking free emerges. And Fred asked me to share an excerpt from this book with you. And I'm going to try to do it without crying, but it's okay to cry. When the heart is cut or cracked or broken, do not clutch it. Let the wound lie open. Let the wind from the good old sea blow in to bathe the wound with salt and let it sting. Let a stray dog lick it. Let a bird lean in the hole and sing. A simple song like a tiny bell, and let it ring. Thanks.
Erin, would you like to say anything? Is Erin still here?
I'm here.
Would you like to say anything? Or
Yeah, I can get myself together.
okay. Cheryl and Archie, would you like to say anything? So Cheryl and Archie, actually, I have to say something about them because the night of the avalanche, I had gotten a call, and my friend actually had thought that it was at my house because the press had put it at my house, which kind of made sense because of where I'm located. I'm at the top of a T, and she said something about an avalanche, and I was like, oh, no, one could come down anytime now. I suppose I was joking. She said, no, Tarn, avalanche. And immediately, she had been really good friends with Terry. She's one of Terry's best friends through high school, and we both went, oh, it's Fred Michaels, because we knew the topography of the mountain there. And so pretty much got all my clothes on and grabbed my avalanche probe and started running up there. And one of the first people I saw coming down was Cheryl with her two dogs. And it was really heartening to be able to see you right away because I was so concerned. And the first thing I asked her was like, oh, you're okay, yes, 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 and no, the lights are off, and then we're going down to Sarah's to stay, and their daughter lives down the street. And then of course, next, the inevitable question was, were they home? And because often Fred and Michael travel this time of year, so they're not often home. And Cheryl said, yeah, we just saw them a couple days ago. She traveled on her way, and I traveled on my way. And the moment though struck me as being how important these two mean to me, even though I don't know them incredibly well, of course, but how dear I hold them to my heart. And it was just that moment of passing made me realize that really quickly. So that's my story about Archie and Cheryl, even though they won't talk. Erin? This is probably the most interviewed family in Missoula.
Well, I just wanted to say, like, thank you to the people who digged for me. I'm Phoenix, me, Michael, and Fred, and I'm sorry that Michael passed away.
Thanks for saying something, Phoenix. Can you sing something? No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
That was really sweet. He's amazing. So I could stand up here for a good couple hours and thank the thousands of people that have helped. Not just my family, but I mean, a lot of people were affected by this. I feel like it's not just our story. It's definitely not just our story, even though it hit us pretty hard. So I'm not gonna ramble off names because I'm gonna miss somebody and I'm gonna feel like a really crappy person because I forgot a couple of people. But what I do want to do is, the way I want to thank people is by telling my story of, I compared that day to the best day of my life, which is, as a mother, is when my children were born. And a lot of you are parents, and so you'll understand that when your child's born and you see them alive, and you're just so happy. And that's not my most, that's not my best memory anymore. That's my second. I am so thankful to have that moment where I was in the hospital and Phoenix wasn't found yet. And I was thinking of all these strangers looking for my son, stepping on the area where he was, and then they came and they said, we found Phoenix. And that still wasn't the best time of my life. It was when I got to see him. And he wasn't awake yet. And then my daughter Coral, who was buried also, but she was able to jump out. She was holding his hand, and she was going, Phoenix, Phoenix, and he fluttered his eyes and looked at her. And that was the best day of my life. The best day of my life, right there. And nothing will ever surpass that. And who do you thank for that? There's so many people. There's powers that I can't even imagine. There's fate. And there's my neighbors. People I didn't know. People I did know. And so a lot of you guys that are here are the reason that I have that best memory, that best day of my life. And I want to thank you for that. And I didn't know Michael or Fred. We had only lived in that house for about 4 months. I'd seen them back and forth, and they would, they'd smile and they'd talk to the kids because they were always outside playing, always. And all I can say about Michael and Fred is that I lost a son and a father really tragically, different times, but both very young, too soon to go. And there's never, you can always do that shoulda, coulda, woulda, like why that happened, why, and that will eat at you. And that's just not a good place to go. And what keeps me going is the memories of them. And so to Michael's family and to Fred's family, the memories is every day what will keep you going. And that's helped me a lot. And I'm really thankful that for whatever reasons that I was given a second chance again with my son. So I'm gonna stop now. Yeah. I'm gonna get another glass of wine. Don't put that on the news, though.
You want to do it at flags? Okay. This is next on the agenda. You were so correct. Did anybody else have something to say as neighbors or friends?
I'd like to say one thing.
Yeah.
I guess I really kind of appreciated Missoula, and I just thought it was so interesting, kind of the contrast between Missoula and Seattle, that we actually got to go in and help and do stuff, and we weren't kept out. We were allowed to participate, and I really think that's a cool thing. And maybe people participated before anybody had a chance to say no, but I just think it's really a cool place to live in that way.
I agree. That's why we're here today. So, the next thing I did have on the agenda was we have the prayer flags outside, and there was some hope to say a few words for Michael. And we have Peggy from Open Way doing that. But before we go outside, I think Claire wants to go outside to do that.
Well, what would you like to do?
Peggy?
That's fine with me.
Okay. I think she'd like to be near the flags is the idea. So before we do that, I have a few additional mentions. I did forget to say thank you to our band, Frederico Brothers. Woo-hoo! So if you could leave some tips for them, they would greatly appreciate it. I also want to thank Marlene Hutchins for helping with the poster. And I also just need to quickly say a few words about, so throughout this whole process, a number of different funds were set up for different victims, and I think that was pretty effective for the most part, although there were a couple of displaced families that are very low income, and I finally actually just randomly ran into a couple of them just last week. So there are some donations that we are actually just going to sort of pass the hat by having that little donation basket of cash. But the problem being that there's no general disaster relief fund in Missoula, Montana, which we wouldn't have known about until now. So Amy and I have instigated a conversation with the Missoula Community Foundation to set up a disaster relief fund that would be general. So whatever money we have, we are going to put it in there and potentially figure out a way to equitably distribute that to some of the survivors. But the problem being, we have to get it set up, which is a pretty complex process. But the cool thing is that in the future, the Disaster Relief Fund, if as run by the Missoula Community Foundation, if it indeed happens, would be available to any other sort of event that happens. So in the future, if there's a fire or a flood, people from all over the world can make donations to this fund, and basically that allows the foundation to spend the money for the people who it's being donated for, or so that they don't run into these problems of having too much money donated to them. Or it also is a way to interview different people who were affected and find a way to equitably distribute that money. So it's a really smart thing, and we hope to continue working on it in the future. It's just sort of in process, and so I just wanted to bring that to your attention because it's something that sort of came out of this. Actually, there's one. Is it in Sweetgrass County? Muscle County, where that huge flood went through, and people from all over the world wanted to donate. Well, what do? So they actually founded a community foundation specifically for the disaster. Then later that year, actually, a fire went through, and so they already had that set up so that people could do that. So that's a really good example of what we hope to accomplish in Missoula. These strange things that come out of, like this kind of occurrence. So on that note, let's give everybody another round of applause, I guess. Thank you, everybody, and we'll head outside for the flag. Wait, you want to say a few words about the flags? You should say a few words about the flags.
Okay, I guess
Do.
stand really close to me.
So one thing that it really was a blessing for me in this project of bringing together flags from people all around the country and around the community to bless the landscape and to bless the people involved with this trauma. What was really great for me is that I felt like, it was such an honor to sort of shepherd people's wishes and prayers and their beautiful sentiments and bring them together. I just feel really honored that I was able to, that people were so much wanted to participate, and that so many people found meaning and some kind of healing in being able to do that. So I want to thank everybody who participated everywhere that they are, because I think that together, as you've all seen, it's really beautiful gesture what's outside, and we hope that if we can get permission, we'll be hanging them up on Mount Jumbo across the Avalanche slide. So we're working on that, and if we're not able to hang them there, they will be up at the Jeanette Rankin Peace Center, Peace Park, and just blow away into the wind and just blow that goodwill that is so evidently manifested in this amazing community. So thank you. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of goodwill, Katrina Shull here with the camera, one of the people with the camera, raise your hand higher. She is now working on a project called Amplify Kindness. She has a film that she's going to be releasing hopefully next year, February of next year. Mm-hmm. And basically inspiration from working at the Avalanche site, getting a deep gash, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there, yeah, she has some cards. Yeah, thank you, Morgan. See, you should talk. So also, she is interested in getting interviews for many of you who were working, like, what the heck made you run in towards an avalanche? And what inspired you to help people that you might or might not have known? So if you have any interest in it, she does not bite. She's actually a really, really good interviewer. She's really sweet. So if you have anything you'd like to say to her about for her movie, she'd be much appreciative. So head on outside for the flags. Thank you.
Yay! So that's what kind of dog it was.
Yeah, that dog. That's what
Yeah, it's pretty fabulous.
Ranger. Ranger.
Hi, how are you? Nice to
How are
see
you?
you. Oh yeah, it's the. I'm here to introduce Peggy. That's it. Who is a long time, probably founding partner, participant in Open Way, the Buddhist community that we're part of, and that Michael was part of for many years. And I know she was a very dear sister of the heart to you. And thank you for speaking. Okay.
Michael was a close personal friend of mine, but she was close friends with a lot of people. She had that special way of making you feel like you were her best friend when you were with her, and so she was best friends with a lot of people. I've kept that in mind, how she had that capacity to do that, and I'm trying to be more present with people that I'm with now, just to kind of, because that was special to me that she was so able to do that. Many of us shared in one or more of Michael's passions for nature, art, music, cooking, gardening, self-awareness, and peace building. In my relationship with her, we shared our personal awareness quests for many years, and personal growth together, and we would meet for lunch and share our insights and what we were learning about ourselves. But it could be said that we are all descendants of Michael. Not blood descendants, but descendants nonetheless. A descendant carries the energy of life forward. And our words and actions are printed into the lives of others as we mingle and merge on this life. The words and actions that Michael put out, we received, and we carry that energy forward in our lives. And anyone aware of her, whether you knew her personally or not, if you brought her into your awareness while you were pushing an avalanche probe into the snow, while you were lifting a shovel full of snow, while you were carrying belongings to a tent or categorizing and tucking things into boxes, if you were donating money, time, or energy to help those affected, slipping a thread through a needle for a prayer flag, if you visited her home, ate at her table, sang a song with her, played a ukulele, stood on the Higgins Street Bridge dressed in black or holding a sign, which she often did. If you bought one of her pieces of art, where the proceeds often went to the Jeanette Rankin Peace Resource Center or to the International Wildlife Film Festival or any of her other things that she was passionate about. And even if you didn't know her, if you thought of Fred and Michael and it crossed your mind how quickly and suddenly and completely everything can be lost and everything can change in your life, it reminds you of how precious your loved ones are. You carry her energy forward. Michael was all about peace building, community, and bringing people together, and even her death worked to that agenda. The Open Way Mindfulness Center sits on a corner of Rose Park. People come there to practice mindfulness and apply it to their daily life. And the seed for that Open Way Mindfulness Center was planted and took root in the living room of Fred and Michael's house. So that house is gone, but there is a legacy in the Mindfulness Center at Rose Park. And that was started over 25 years ago, and today the house is gone, but the legacy of the Mindfulness Center carries forward that mindfulness practice, and there are also communities that have formed through that center, born from those seeds, that are also in Kalispell and Helena now. But while the experience of the avalanche and its impact was traumatic and sad, what I want to talk about is joy. Joy promotes healing. It creates a balance with difficult times. It's a frame of mind and a base from which compassion, happiness, gratitude, empathy, understanding, and many other emotions arise. It is possible to experience joy through a veil of tears. And the joy of being together, working together, even or especially in difficult times. And this surely describes what the people who put their minds and hearts together to work on the Avalanche site might have experienced during the experience of the search and the aftermath. And Michael planted seeds of joy in family and friends and community, which will continue to grow in the gardens of so many hearts. It's important to nurture joy, to feed it, appreciate its passionate energy, share it with others in community. A loss like this cannot be absorbed by one person. It has taken a community to absorb it and to transform it as we are doing. And the evidence is visible in these beautiful prayer flags. So watch closely for joy in your life, seek to cultivate it and touch it often. Our community needs this for both happy and difficult times. And these flags, they can be a reminder of the power of many hearts, minds, and hands together.
Thank you, Peggy.
Can't get it without crying.
You did a great job.
Always my drummer.
Hey, Ellie. Good, thank you.
Those kayaks are they still in Bob? Yeah, those guys.
I stuck all my clothes in a tube in a grid, and I tossed it in the baggage car. I jumped in behind it and I made myself at home. I'm gonna ride this train, ride these rails till this train falls apart. Well, rocking back and forth in an empty boxcar door, rolling along at 60 miles an hour. There ain't nothing in this world any finer than this, just maybe being an engineer on that Rocky Mountain Flyer. Big steel wheels keep me rolling to the west, way on past the Green Divide. Be it the Northern Pacific or the Texas Illinois, I'm gonna ride this train, ride these rails till I die. Now I've been coast to coast maybe 50 times or more, and I've come to learn some hard advice. Yeah, hit the station early and get off that platform quick, 'cause the one you left behind will be calling out to quench your desires. Well, watching all those hills roll by, there's nothing that can be denied. The wondrous works of God's mighty hand. 10,000 shiny railroad tracks gonna take me there, gonna bring me back over the horizon, down into the blessings of this land. Big steel wheels keep me rolling to the west, way on past the Great Divide. Be it the Northern Pacific or the Texas Illinois, I'm gonna ride this train, ride these rails till I die. switching yard, we rolled till 1:30.